guest. We're going to talk to Modder Paul, and Modder Paul's he's like a kind of like a superhero. He's out there stopping people from helping people not be scammed and stopping scammers from scamming other people. So he's got a pretty unique presentation and is a pretty fun guy. Hi, Kim Chi from Washington. How does it feel to have a different kind of Washington right now? So welcome, Kim Chi. So yeah, let me bring in Ray, running errands, just here to listen. All right, Resistor Rachel. Well, please do listen.
Hi.
And there you are, though you're frozen. How you doing?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
But I mean, we'll it's happened to me before. So hey, let it be. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Just thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah. So Kim Carolina is a very big. I think she's a very big fan of your program, and I was enjoying some of the episodes she sent me. What first, before we go into that, what's your background? Is it you got to have some kind of computer background?
Yeah, I've been in IT, information technology, since my whole life, basically. And I think as time progressed and as the world changed over to the internet at large, I just found myself looking for different ways to express myself. And one of them is in creativity. I do a lot of video work, and I'm not surprised to find myself being what you call a scam baiter, because I can leverage my knowledge, especially with technical support scams, to really yank the chains of these criminals and do what I think is the best way of combination of wasting their time and sending a message to them that what they're doing is wrong and they're not going to get away with it. That kind of message.
So how do you get okay, so let's let people kind of know what that envisions and what that accomplishes. Not what it accomplishes, but how it comes out. So you have a program. You're on Periscope on YouTube, right? You're on YouTube Live.
Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I broadcast from YouTube, and then I simulcast out to Periscope, Twitter, and Twitch, or Twitter and Facebook. I mean, Periscope is Twitter's current one. Soon to be Haps TV, as soon as I can figure out how to do my broadcast. What I do is there are four main types of scams, cyber crimes that happen to everyday people today. There's what's called a refund scam, which happens to be the most prolific. It's where you get a computerized call saying that something was ordered, like an iPhone, on your Amazon account, and that if you don't take action and speak to an Amazon representative, you're going to be charged $1,300 the next day, and you'll never get the phone. So it's natural for a person to look at their Amazon account, and sure enough, they don't see a phone on order, but they call them anyways or press one on the phone. And the next thing they know, they're literally driving down to a Walmart or a Best Buy to buy gift cards to pay the scammers because they accidentally overpay you. It's a elongated scheme. And what I do as part of my show is illustrate the lengths that these scammers go through to try to confuse people into thinking that they owe them money. Another type of scam, the ones I started off with, where people get a fake pop-up on their screen saying that their computer is going to crash, and if they don't call within the next 5 minutes, they're going to lose all their data. And that would be no different than a person pulling up to a stoplight and then somebody come running out of a mechanic shop screaming at you saying your car is going to blow up. You better take your car over to our shop while we fix it, or you're going to be stranded. Right. And all they do is basically have you go to like McDonald's and eat while they just basically sit on their rumps and do nothing. And then you pay them $400. So that's an example of a technical support scam. And what I do is
so those are just cold call people?
What's that?
Are they just cold calling people?
In a way they are, because you'll get the pop-up on your browser if you're browsing through sometimes it's just a recipe site. And
Okay.
if the scammers are advertising on that site, it'll trip up a Java-based page, which will produce an alert telling you that you have an infection or that your hard drive is going to crash. So you call them up because you can't do anything. It hijacks your browser.
Right.
They remote into your computer, and they use a lot of social engineering utilities that are built into Windows, like the event viewer, which always shows errors. And they will tell you that those errors are the result of hackers that have taken control of your computer. So to a layperson, they could fall for something like that because the Windows Event Viewer does show errors. So what I do is they remote into my machine, and my event viewer shows 0 errors, or they look for certain other things, and my machine doesn't show them what they expect to see. And so where they would normally spend, well, another thing that I do too is I trick them by taking extra long for them to get connected to my machine. For example, normally they can get connected to your computer within 5 minutes, but with one of my characters, Mary Sue Huckers, it can take as long as 25 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And what that does to them is it drives them up the wall because they're in a rush to cruise through to the bottom line and get your money.
Right.
With me, however, I dangle them along 30 minutes, 45 minutes for a tech support scam, only to laugh at them at the end and tell them that they're idiots and stupid for doing what they're doing. It's a lot of what I do is entertaining to my viewers because in a couple of different formats. I use a lot of variety of humor, just
Right.
tall storytelling, things like that. It's also a way for some people who may be related to someone who's been through a scam to vicariously get back at the scammers by what I'm doing. I also tackle Social Security scammers, and those are the ones that I put more entertainment into because they on their side put entertainment on their side because they try to they call you and tell you that your social security number is going to be suspended for fraudulent activity, and they make the claim. For example, a car was found in Texas on the southern border that was rented under your social security number, and there was drugs and blood residue in the car. Further inspection, the car was linked to 2 properties that had 26 pounds of cocaine and bank accounts with transactions outlining money sent to terrorists and criminals all throughout the world. And it's using your social security number.
Yeah.
What they try to get you to do is they say, we've got an arrest warrant ready to roll. If you don't cooperate with us, you're going to be arrested within 15 minutes in some cases. They tell you, we're going to create a new social security number for you. But before we do that, you need to go to your bank and drain all but $50 out of your account and put it in a safety locker, which happens to be a bank in Bangkok. And
Oh my.
they literally will wipe a victim shirtless. I mean, really everything but their shirt. So what I do with them is I give them these outlandish tales about being a convicted felon, falsely accused of killing old people in a retirement home. I give them these outlandish tales about robbing banks, just things that they ironically believe in a lot of situations. Often a scam will involve me having to go to a Walmart and buying gift cards. Even the Social Security scammers sometimes will only take $2,000, so they'll have you go to Walmart. They make you take your cell phone with you and drive
Uh-huh.
with you on the call.
Uh-huh.
So I have a pre-recorded video of me driving to 7-Eleven from a job site that I was at. It's 15 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
They literally think I'm going to the store. And if
So
if they're a refund scammer, they're remoted into my machine. If they run the web camera and I'm playing Mary Sue Huckers, they see a female reporter sitting in the chair. When I leave for the store, if they open up the web camera, it shows an empty chair.
Gotcha.
So they literally think I'm going to the store. And what I typically will do is at the store, I'll buy the cards, and then I'll come back out of the Walmart and I'll have a moment where I feel guilty about telling a lie. So I decide to spend the cards on my own. I go buy dresses and shoes and a new barbecue for my husband, that kind of thing, while the scammers screaming their lungs out.
So you get back and you tell them that you spent the money already, and now you don't have them.
Or the other day, I decided to go to dinner, and I was going to read the target cards to them, but I had Mary choke on a piece of steak, and someone had to give her the Heimlich maneuver, and the cards got lost when she fell onto the table and broke it into pieces.
Yes.
Was that Kim?
Man, what got you? What got you started doing this? How did what was the first? What was your first time, Paul?
December 28th, 2016, I got tired of seeing these technical support pop-ups, so I decided I was going to use my regular voice but dumb it down and play a person called Mod. That was his name at the beginning was Mod. And in that first video, they asked me what my email address was, and that's when I realized my name was Modder Paul Huckers, because my email address is modderphuckers@gmail.com. And when you read that written out, it looks like a curse word. And I thought that would be a subtle way to dig in at them.
Right.
I would eventually discover a whole world of scammers that ranged in ages, backgrounds, intelligence. After that first video, 2 weeks later, I thought I'm going to play a female and see if I can get away with it. And that's how Mary Sue Huckers was born. And as I kept going along, I came up with another character named Cosmo. He was my third one. He sounds like a munchkin. And I thought I would just drive him nuts with a munchkin voice. And as I just went along, I noticed trends. They kept changing. It's like spy versus spy. They get better tools and I get better tools. I started redesigning my own Windows utility, so when they ran like msconfig, instead of getting the real msconfig, they get my version, what looks like the real thing.
So that they think they're adjusting your computer.
Oh yeah, they do not like me at all. I mean, it ends with me playing sound effects, busted and wasted. I do.
Looks like you got some of your YouTube followers in here. So say hello.
Hi everybody.
Looks like they followed you in. Look at that. Awesome. And somebody.
I'm actually streaming I'm actually sharing this on my YouTube right now. So.
Oh, gotcha. Awesome. Yeah, they were wondering what's going on, and in fact, yes, he is being interviewed. And welcome. Let me hear from Kim Carolina. Or did you want to come up here and?
I think I'm up here, aren't I?
Well, I'm going to put you in the room. Hang on a second.
Okay.
There you go. Hey,
forgive my tardiness, y'all. It's a learning curve here. How you doing, Ray?
Hi, Kim. Kim's one of my.
Thank you for coming.
Oh yeah, no, I wouldn't have missed this for anything. I tried to get my apps TV working with my Sony camcorder, but it just doesn't work. So I'm now using my old webcam. And
sometimes the old is the best, huh?
Well,
going to the old is the best sometimes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stream. We got some people watching my YouTube. I'm on Twitter and I'm on Twitch and
Uh-huh.
Periscope right now as well. So I'm hoping
Well,
I can
Rev's a
bring
good.
more traffic to the Revolution channel as well. So
Well, I'm telling you, Rev is a good one to know if you're getting started on this particular app because he has done a wonderful job. He had his little learning curve at the beginning, but he's like an old pro now.
Yeah, 5 weeks
yeah,
into it, and I know and I know pretty well. But you know what? This is actually, and anybody out there on YouTube, if you don't know about Haps.tv, you could come over to Haps.tv right now and join us. Even come up and talk to us if you want to. But you can become a member. You can do your own. You can have your own show, like Ray, if you want. It doesn't cost anything. It's a nice newer platform that you can also support the creatives. So you can you probably got some free coins. Well, I think they give you 100 free coins or something when you start. You can give some coins away. You can become a sponsor. So this will be good for you too, Ray. You'll be able to get some more, get some cash to be able to buy better equipment and better programming, better software.
Yeah.
I did play with it. I was a little bummed I couldn't use my Sony camcorder. It doesn't mean I haven't given up.
I know the feeling though.
And I I love the picture, the slides, the grid. I was able to share my desktop with my camera image in the corner. I figured out how to do that on Haps TV, but I could only do it with my old webcam.
Hmm.
So, but
That's
I'm not giving
Haps,
up.
like happiness. Who is that? Little Stinky? Little Stinky. Hey, Little Stinky. Haps.tv. Happs. Happs. Haps, like happiness. Haps.tv. The coins are, I guess they're worth 10 cents each.
10 cents on the dollar is what I find.
Yeah, they're 10 cents on the dollar. So if you give
Yeah,
me 100 coins, I get 10 cents. So it's just a way to
there you
support the creators. It's just another way to do it. It is Ray that is frozen. He is frozen.
go. Uh-oh.
Um,
Well, let me brag on him a minute, if I may, Rev. I've been a fan of Ray's for a while. I've followed him for a really long time, and here lately, I've just gotten real interested. He did a series of before Christmas, a series of like uh scamathons, and he went pretty much all day. He had some time off, and he went from morning to night almost, and it was just wonderful watching him work. He's a master at what he does. He's got a good kind heart. When he finds the scammers, man, he hits them hard, and it's nice to see him take an hour out of their day that they could have been making money after, from some little old lady like me that didn't know any better. And I've got a cousin whose mother-in-law lost a whole lot of money to these people, and I have no love lost for them. So it tickles me when I see Ray get their goat and waste their time. And it's bad. Some of them don't even know they're doing wrong, which is unfortunate. But a lot of them do know they're doing wrong. But Ray has also, when he finds some that he convinces that they're maybe doing the wrong thing, he'll lead them in another path. And especially if they are good English speakers, he'll introduce them around to people, and find them opportunities that they didn't know they had. So he's a good-hearted guy, and I just love him dearly. I'm when I fall in love with the people on this application or on Periscope that I love, I'm going to be a follower for a long time. And Ray's one of those real good guys.
Thanks for the
He is
kind words.
awesome, Anita. Well, it's the truth, Ray. You're wonderful at what you do. You're honest as the day is long. You don't put on any airs. You are who you are, and we've all fallen in love with you. That's for sure.
Thanks, Mr. Really good. Yeah,
yeah,
she brought up a good thing that one of the efforts I started early on. I really do get into my act with the scammers, even the basic tech support ones, and what I found is really astonishing. A great majority of the initial scammers that you talk to are generally on the job for less than 2 weeks. And it's the way that these scamming outfits hire people. They put Facebook ads out telling them you can get a job doing inbound calls for support on Amazon. The person goes to the job, they apply, they start working, and all they do is take that initial call. They get connected remotely, and then they always hand the call off to a senior supervisor who actually does the scam.
Ah,
So I've met many scammers that have been in there as late as 3 months thinking that they weren't working for a scammer.
Mhm.
And through the course of it, I've had some experiences where scammers were crying because they weren't meeting quota. I had one
uh-huh.
female one that broke my heart. I I I've never and never will give money to a scammer, even if I feel sorry for them. But
Sure.
that's the closest I came. I said, are you gonna be okay? Are you gonna be
She
okay?"
probably was just scamming you, man.
I know.
Oh,
Well, I thought, that's the part of me that has to keep that edge. I thought that could be
I know.
possible.
Yeah.
However, I did talk to her again Monday, and she
Uh-huh.
had gotten beat up
Oh my
because,
God.
and
oh dear.
and she no longer worked there because her family refused to let her leave the house. I talked her out of scamming, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't. It was then I realized that there was more to the scammer, and that was early on in my 3.5 years I've been doing it. As I went along, I started noticing that some scammers were more pliable than others in admitting that they knew they were doing wrong.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought, why don't I give them a private email address that they could email? And if they're up for it, I would offer to rewrite their resume as a functional resume and maybe help them start looking for a regular job. And
Wow.
and and so I've helped three over the 3.5 years. I've personally helped three scammers stop scamming and take regular jobs. I
Holy
now
cow.
have a Discord team. We're currently working with two scammers. One made the decision to stop scamming, and he did an interview with one of my I call him my peers, another scam baiter. He had an interview with the scammer, and he outlines perfectly why a person can become a scammer in India or Pakistan and not really realize it until it's too late. Um, that's not to say that I don't come across a great number of downright rotten, mean scammers. I mean, they actually outweigh the good ones.
They know
And
what they're
my
doing and they're
Yeah.
happy to do it.
And they're bad. When they're bad, they're very, very, very bad. They have
Yeah, they
foul
can.
language. They,
I, well, I think what happens is they become indoctrinated,
yeah.
and I I I try to think of what would get me to do what they're doing. The closest I could ever think of was back in '92. I I had just had my first child, and I was jobless. I was going to day labor to do construction work, and well, in 1994, and I remember the appeal of that job because I would go to the day labor place. I would stand in line and wait for a name to get called. I would spend one day just doing something dumb like shoveling dirt or leveling dirt, and I'd get back and they would pay me in cash or with a check minus taxes. And I would go down to the casino because I lived in Reno, Nevada. I would get a free beer out of it and cash my check. It was just easy. So
Uh-huh.
I thought, take that idea and then turn it into it's a full time job. It pays cash daily. There's no taxes. Okay. And through that, they make a little bit more than what they would make at a legitimate job. And what
Hmm.
happens to them? They're introduced as a non-scamming scammer. They work for a month. They finally start paying their rent and start making their scooter payment. I guess they don't.
Hmm.
They live quite a bit differently there, or they're starting to feed their family better. When they finally become a scammer, that sting is not nearly as hard because they're getting money,
Hmm.
and in some cases, scammers are held under a contract. So there's a lot of variables at play. Um, there's other things that I'm still learning, like Social Security scammers, they give such an outlandish story on you being tied to some car in Texas with drugs and sending money to terrorists. Their success ratio is so minimal. I've been told there are some situations where the scammer boss will literally give them room and board. And if they don't produce something within a month or 2 months, they then get let go. And so there's anything under the sun. I mean, you can think of, I deal primarily with the refund scammers, which would be Amazon saying you have something coming, you need to get it canceled and we'll refund your money. Computer services expiration subscription, they'll tell you that you had computer service done and that they can no longer supply it, so they need to refund your money. And what they do is they log into your computer remotely, they have you fill out a refund form, you hit process. The form says log into your bank to see if you got your refund. So you log into your bank, you don't see the refund. They then go into this varied script. Oh, we're going to have to do a manual refund. We're going to log into our Chase Bank, but we need to blacken your screen because it's our confidential bank.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, you're still logged into your bank. They blacken your screen. They then play these shenanigans to where you might end up filling out another form, and let's say you're supposed to get a $300 refund. You type 300, and then another zero appears right away, and it gets processed. Mm-hmm. They then show you your bank, and lo and behold, they didn't give you a $300 refund. They gave you $3,000 because you made a typo. Mm-hmm. What they've done is I can log into my bank and I can change the text to make it look like I have $1 trillion in my savings account. It's not really there. It's just on the screen. Mm-hmm. What they do is they change the text of the victim's bank to make it look like their typo resulted in an overpayment of $2,700. They're told that if they log into their phone to check their bank, it will immediately invalidate the process and all their balances will be gone to zero. Okay. They then lay this sob story about losing their job because of your typo. And they talk you into cradling the phone with you while you drive to Walmart to buy multiple $500 gift cards. They want you to read them to them. Mm-hmm. Right. If a victim does do that, they lose that money. It's not recoverable. Mm-mm. So that's why I play the role of a bubble-headed woman, usually Mary Shoehuckers. They tell you when you get to the Walmart, make sure you tell the counter person that you're buying it for personal use and not business, because if you do, you'll be taxed an extra $100 and we'll be taxed an extra $100. And Mary says, but I don't want to lie. And so Mary begrudgingly decides to lie. But on the way out of the store, her conscience gets the best of her and she decides, if I said I was going to do it for personal, I'd better use it for personal. I'm going to do some shopping. And this is what she goes on, buys barbecues, and she likes to buy shoes and dresses. And
they go crazy.
Oh, they go ballistic on it.
And listen, Ray goes as far as he's got a video and audio of him getting in his car, blowing his horn,
right,
at somebody, go out the window, you pulled out in front of me, you jerk, and even the whole sound is there. The people are sucked in and believe every bit of what Mary or what any of them are doing. He goes 100% into it. It's wonderful to watch.
Hey, Gary Lane, dude, is that a cry for help? I would become a member, but keep wasting my money on beer and cryptocurrency. Yeah, but Gary also said, yes, it is. Ray is awesome. And let's see, you got, yelling at them to shut up. Yeah, I was watching them. It's pretty funny how forceful they are. I think I can show a clip if you don't mind. From the hilarious female scammer. I know this is like a big fun episode. Let me see. It takes me a minute because I have to switch the audio, so you won't be able to.
Mary's a trip. Mary's a trip. I love Mary.
You won't be able to talk or anything. Like our audio is going to cut out because I got to switch it over. But I'll be back in a minute when the video's over. I'll run it for a couple of minutes.
Okay.
Modder Paul Hookers presents hilarious female technical support scammer.
Wait. I see a YouTube channel and it has the same thing. And now let me see the videos. It says, Mary vs. Dumb Indian support. What's that about? You think we are all scammered? I'm not a scammer.
Yes, you are. You are a purified scammer, sweetie. I don't even know if you're official. What do you live? You sound like you're from India.
Wait, you know what? We are like, sir. Okay, we are from America.
Which city are you in? I'm having a hard time believing you even know what you're doing. You told me to log in several times.
Right.
I've already been logged in, and you sound very impatient. Kind of like a cranky old grandma from India.
I am not.
Well, you sound like one.
You know what? I know what to do. I know who are you. Okay? Let me search your name on YouTubing. Let me search it.
YouTubing.
Let me.
My name is Raymond. RAYMOND.
So I'm going to search Modder Hookers and see what I find.
No, my name is Raymond. It's not Modder.
Wait, I see. It says. Wait. I see a YouTube channel and it has the same thing. And now let me see the videos. It says, Mary vs. Dumb Indian support scammer. What is that about? You think we are all scammered? I'm not a scammer.
Yes, you are. You are a purified scammer, sweetie.
Right. I'm not. I'm not. Terry magnitude. Terry maga boobsrike.
You are as dumb as a bag of hammers. You really are.
Wait, are you going to upload this video onto your YouTubing?
Yes, I am. I'm preparing the video as we speak.
Okay, I'm going to watch you until you upload it. Guess what? I'm going to watch that video until you upload it, okay? Understanding, okay? You mother dog, okay? Do you understanding?
You sound like a witch. You really do. Man, you're scaring the pants off me. And I had...
Okay, madam, you know what? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
You're going crazy. You are a lunatic.
I am not. I think that's now not playing. That is that had to feel like. How did that day feel? That had to feel like a home run.
It was a Saturday, and I went to a source of where I used to get my numbers mostly, and I thought, wow, I actually got something to do. So I called, and within 3 minutes, I thought, I don't know how this is going to work, but I think I just struck some gold here. I go, this is unusual. And I was grinning ear to ear as I was just going with it, and I just could not believe it. It actually took 2 weeks for me to edit the video to put it up. And when I put it up, I thought people are gonna, either hate it or they're going to love it. And Too Muddy to Light, everybody loved it. And then about a year ago, one of my fellow scambaiters, Luke's Doghouse, he wanted to do an interview of me and show that video. And that once I did that, the video shot from where it had 2,000 views to where it now has almost 200,000 views.
Wow.
I mean, it really skyrocketed over a 3-month period. And it just, and I use it in my channel intro on YouTube as well as Twitch. It's an unusual ScamBait call. I don't anticipate getting anything quite like it, because the person was, I even credit the person at the end. I say, good job. They were putting on a show.
Yeah, they how did, so at some point she is seeing something on your screen that is indicating to her that you're a scam buster, or what? Is she catching on to you? What's going on in there?
It happens to me more and more daily. Scammers are well aware of the scam baiting community. In fact, out of 10 calls, I can't give an exact percentage, but one example that Jim Browning, another scam baiter, had produced was as many as 40% of the calls scammers get are from a person like me. And so they are on the lookout for prankers, is what they call them. They call us prankers. Are you pulling a prank? Are you doing a prank? That's what they usually say. So they scour YouTube looking for live shows. I don't think they're really good at it just yet, because I don't see them dive bombing me right now. But I have caught a couple of occasions where I'm talking to the scammer and one of his associates turns up the volume and I can hear myself echoing in the background, and my eyes roll because they're watching me.
A little, you know what, little Stinky, I pushed up his volume a little bit. Hold on a second. Are you the only one that? Nope, Christian was having a problem with the volume too. So let me know if that worked out. There's quite a bit of a lag in here. Yeah, it's there's a little overmodulation on Ray's end, I think, but it's we can hear him fine. And yeah, so but this woman, like, you should have gotten her number and done like a weekly gig. You know what I mean? Like, just, I mean, that is. You could, that. I mean, she was just perfect. Like, she couldn't have written that script any better.
Yeah, the thing about that call occurred in my 4th month of scam baiting, and I honestly, like I said, I held it for 2 weeks before I published it. My initial gut reaction was I wasn't going to do it because she did a lot of acting in it, and I didn't want to portray any of my ScamBait videos as being acted out. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad I pushed it up, because it just turns out that the acting was done so well, it was worth it. I mean, and in hindsight, I would have asked them for their phone number.
Really? Wow. Yeah. Yeah, she's got some talent there. It is but I think it's interesting that you were talking about early in the beginning of our conversation that, you became to kind of understand and sympathize with the plight of the scammer. When I was homeless, there was a guy that, he had his pillow stolen, but anyway, I don't want to go into this long story, but I mean, like if you come up, my thing is, if you come up out of nowhere and you just come up and punch me in the face, of course, my first reaction is going to be probably to, punch you back. But once we get done with the punching, I'm going to be like, dude, what was that about? Why did you punch me? Well, because my dad punched me, or my mom lost her job, or whatever. I mean, there's always a story behind the story, and that you have sympathy and are trying to help the scammers. I mean, that's just beyond scam baiting. That's some serious good shit there that you're doing, and that is
Well,
really
yeah.
neat.
I think what spawned me into it is by around the fourth month, I called enough scammers up. I started to raise questions. I said, there's so many different voices out there. Some are actually nice. I actually had a great scam bait with a scammer that called herself Lovely. That's it. She said her name was Lovely. And I told her, you have a lovely voice. And I started to dawn on me. I could not for the life of me believe that ordinary young people, because most of them are young, could live with themselves, stealing money from victims the way they were doing. And then I was fortunate to have my roommate. He's an Indian. His name was Ramesh. He's a very smart. The guy makes over $200,000 a year doing what he does. He builds firmware for artificial hearts and things like that. When we went to dinner one day, and he's the reason I don't curse at these scammers, because there was a couple of scam baits I did early on where I really hauled at them, and wasn't me doing I didn't do anything live for another year later, so this was just me taping my calls, and there were a couple sessions where I decided to haul off on them and give them my peace of mind. And he went to dinner with me, and he goes, I want you to know something. He goes, when you said haul off at them, I don't know if you realized it, but they were having the time of their life. They loved it when you did that. He says, but when you played that girl where you're being sweet, but kind of basic and just nice, they were hostile, Ray. You were getting on their nerves. And he goes, I think that's the direction you should take it. And so even when I play my character, Cousin Ray, I rarely do drop an F-bomb. I have done it. I mean, I've got frustrated with them. But I maintain a level of respect with them, knowing that they've probably been scammed into getting the job they have. And it's quite possible.
I have never heard Ray use a foul word the whole time that I've been watching. Not once, Ray, I ever heard it. And let me brag on him with one other thing here. Not only does he help the scammers who seem to be down and out or upset about what's going on in their life, but he also offers to the community. If I can do anything, if you want to do what I do, if you want to try to get at these people that are taking money from elderly and the young, whomever, I will help you get started. I'll do everything in my power. I'll spend time. We'll talk. We'll do whatever. And he's done it for many people. And the community I'm beginning to find out, is a very close knit community. They stick together, and they're all wonderful people. But I'd also, Ray, like for you to explain your bot, because this is a really cool aspect of his thing here.
Yeah, I run an open environment. I make all the tools I use on my stream are available for people to download, so they can use the same virtual machine that I do. I'm soon going to be offering scam baiting live stream, where I show people the things I do that I think are most effective at scam baiting. I am planning to have Kim on as a guest here very soon.
Awesome.
During one of my, I have these, I'm having these these scheduled lunch streams where instead of me being the scam baiter, I have what I call be prepared to meet a special person. And then I bring the person in on a scam bait. And then after the scam bait gets rolling, I'll then reveal their own personalized avatar that I've created for them. If you watch my normal live streams, I have on-screen graphics. Whenever I speak, my avatar blinks in the upper left corner, surrounded by a green border. Whenever the scammer speaks, their avatar blinks with a red border. And so when I have a guest, before I do my show, I create a special avatar for them. And after they do a scam bait, I then interview them for the remainder of my lunch hour. And it gives them the ability to basically ride in my shoes from the comfort
I
of their
consider it an
phone.
honor. I consider it a big honor to have been asked to do it too, Ray. I'm serious. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can't
And I
wait.
had my daughter on about a month ago. She's 24, and she tackled a Social Security scammer, and she did really good for a first-time scam bait. She had them on for 12 minutes, which, in all fairness, most of these SSA scammers, they trigger so quickly. The ones that I get that are on for even a half hour it takes work to keep them on that long. The ones that I have on for an hour and a half, I really have to work them in order to make them believe that I am who I say I am. I've even I haven't used them yet, but I've just finished fake driver's licenses that I can use to text to them, because they're starting to now, they now want you to text your driver's license to them. So I've created a realistic looking fake Utah driver's license. Before every now and then, I'll go out and get my Social Security numbers. I use a generator that generates unused Social Security numbers that validate. I then create a name for the person. In the back of my head, I always keep in mind what kind of scam bait I'm going to throw at the Social Security scammer. I have so many tools I use. Like, one of the dumb questions they ask me anyway is, "Have you ever lost your identification?" And I'll tell them, "Well, yeah, back in 2002," and I'll give them this 2 minutes of describing going to the library and losing my driver's license in some way or another. And then after I'm done, the scammer starts to go to the next section of the script, and I'll say, "And then in 2008, while waiting for a bus in Reno, Nevada, I had this really big sneeze and my wallet fell onto the floor and it was gone, and I had to go to the police station, and it took weeks to get my identity back." And I stop, and they start going to the next part of the script. I say, "And then in 2011, and I just, a lot of them get to the point, say, "Are you done?" And I say, "Yeah, that was the last time I lost my ID." And then the next question is, do you know anybody in your family that could cause you this kind of trouble? And sure enough, I have several family members to talk about.
Do they do most of them just give up and get off the phone because when I was 18, I got a job with the AAA Motor Club, and it was doing phone sales. And the guy said, here's the phone book. Just start at the letter A. And he said, you'll average one membership about every 28 calls. And, he was right. And it was just in any of the sales I've done over the years, it's usually just a numbers game. Do the most of them just get off real quick because they know, I'm just not going to deal with this person. I'll just go on to the next one?
Well, the minute they have reason to believe you're not going to yield, they will find a way out. I'm very careful with the amount of money that I tell them I have in my bank, because if you tell them you only have like $600 in your checking account, they might just bail on you because you're not worth it. So right. I have at least 2,200 in my checking and about 8,000 in my savings. That lights them up.
But wait though. Hold on. But what if you say you have 200,000, they can't get you to buy $200,000 worth of gift cards, so it doesn't matter, right?
No, that's where they get really, and not a lot of them aren't equipped for that right now. Scammers have taken a big hit with the pandemic. So a lot of the scammers we deal with right now are very basic. But one of the most complex Social Security scammers I had was going to literally have me go to my bank and close it, but transfer all my funds to my escrow account in Bangkok. He was also going to have me turn over all my investments, because I rattled off several investments, my retirement fund. I was going to turn that over.
My goodness.
So, yeah, they literally will have you wire your money. The story gets even worse. I mean, if let's say I have 10,000 in the bank, they'll have me go withdraw 9,000 in cash, and tell me to wrap it in tinfoil and put it in a shoebox, and then surround it with newspaper and overnight it to one of the regional Social Security officers in California or Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
Oftentimes it takes 15 minutes for them to get the address of this officer. It's because they're going onto Facebook and saying, we have a procedural job. Someone needs to take in a payment for us.
Right.
We will supply the bread and breakfast. You supply your part and call and we'll talk about the particulars. What they're doing is they're hiring a mule to stay in a B&B. I overnight the cash to them. The mule takes 30 to 35% of it. And then over the course of 2 to 6 months, I really don't know exactly how they get that money to the scammer. I honestly think that mule spends many days going and buying gift cards and buying money orders and doing all kinds of cash-based over a long period of time.
Uh-huh.
The part that makes it really bad, and this harkens back, remember how I said there's a type of scammer that will call saying that their services is expired?
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll call and say, you had computer service a couple of years ago. Well, we're going out of business. Okay. When they call with that type of scam, they're trying to target people who may have already been a tech support scamming victim. Because they remember they got $400 taken out. Well, in this mule situation, when that victim shells out $10,000, or one victim I know about that shelled out over $30,000, they clam up and they will not go. If they go to the authorities will tell them there's nothing you can do because you used cash. They don't tell their relatives because they feel guilty. There's a certain type of psychology that hits them. They'll get called by another scammer, likely from the same outfit that got them to mail that cash to begin with, and falsely state that they know that they're a victim of a scam. We're from an outfit based in India. We're helping victims recover their cash by having you take receipt from the reimbursement that we're getting from these scammers. All you have to do is accept these packages. You can keep 35% of it to go towards your losses, and you just work with us on getting those gift cards. What they've done is they've turned the victim into a hapless mule.
Holy cow.
So sad.
Yeah.
So sad.
Yeah, there's some videos on YouTube right now of that happening. It's really sick and sad. And then my overall view of it, like I said, a lot of these scammers don't start off. In India, you don't hit day one and start stealing gobs of money. You don't even steal the money. You take the call or you make the call. If it's a robocall telling people that their Social Security is going to be suspended.
Right. I've gotten those a few times.
Yeah, that new scammer sits there and takes the phone call. They vet them for obvious things like a valid Social Security number. They tell them the absurd story about the car. They get them scared about a warrant, and then they transfer you to a DEA agent who happens to be in the same building as the Social Security Administration. It's that DEA agent, that middle guy, who cinches most of the deal, but it's the FCC agent or the Trade Commission agent. They have different agents, and they all work in the same building. Mm-hmm. That's the dude that talks you into going to the bank and drawing the cash out or buying the gift cards. Those middle two guys, not the beginning guys, are the guys that have been there for more than 3 months and that are being pressured by their boss to do their best to scare the Jesus out of people and steal their money. And
You also
those,
think, why are these people even talking to these people? But they call a lot of elderly people. And in my case, the person I know that this happened to, she's lonely. She was lonely. She loved to talk to somebody on the phone. And literally, this one woman befriended her. But she had a
yeah,
number that she could call her back on. It was ridiculous. She became a coffee friend in the morning. And she kept taking more and more and more and more. This woman ended up
yeah,
getting scammed out of $100,000. And this is a
geez.
family member's mother-in-law. I know her well. It was
Yeah,
ridiculous. That's why it doesn't
uh,
bother me too bad when I see some of these guys waste an hour and a half with Ray. It tickles me to death.
well, yeah, that's their perfect victim. Their perfect victim is not necessarily an elderly person, more than likely would be, but someone who's depressed or lonely or worried about something. Loneliness is a big factor, like Kim was saying. You could, I myself remember at the age of 24, I got hounded by a debt collector who ended up getting more out of me than I normally would have given him because he was really good at scaring me. So they do say that a scammer's best victims are the elderly, the mentally challenged, and that could be people who are depressed or lonely, or young people. Young people become victims quite easily, actually.
Yeah, that's what somebody says here. Certified ScamBait says young people fall for it a lot because they just don't know any better. And then Anne, well, we'll just say Anne, the closers get the bulk of the money. Well, yeah, that's even, when in legit sales businesses, it's the closer that is going to make all the money. And I would think, yeah, there is so many. There's one of the things I know, another scam that happens a lot is these people go on to Facebook and they look for people who are currently on vacation. Have you heard of this one? And they
sell the house or something.
Well, then what they do is, they then find somebody in the the friends section that is a family member, like a grandmother, preferably, and they say, oh, this is the Puerto Vallarta police.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And your young nephew or your young son or whatever has been arrested and we need to do this or whatever, but they find out they find out what you're doing, and then they're like, well, I didn't even know he was in Puerto Vallarta, and they're like, and then they just start talking about everything they see on the Facebook pages and all this stuff, and so the woman's like, they get convinced that you are the authorities, and they get you to wire them some money or whatever to get them out of jail or
yeah, that's a very common scam, actually. And I remember back in 2000, I think it was 2000. I know it was 1990. It was when Facebook first came out. I was telling people at the job I was at, you're crazy putting your kid's skull on Facebook. I go,
Yeah.
I said, no, it's cute. I'm sharing it with everybody. I go, yeah, and you're sharing it with people who might want to know where your kid goes to school.
Right.
Oh, I never thought of that. And I said, besides, I go, you don't want to share anything that can give your primary location away. I go, it may not happen as much right now, but I can see a day when predators are going to be using that as a means.
Yep.
One of the scams I'm surprised I don't hear more of. I'm surprised. I mean, I'm not going to. I don't. This is not something I usually share, but there are so many things that even I can get tricked into paying. If scammers only knew to scam me with those, they'd have even a chance with me. But there are things that we all do. Credit cards is one. Utility bills, that we're starting to see a lot of utility scammers. I think that's pretty crafty of them to do that. There's a huge scamming outfit that picks on Australia's Telstra. They're an internet provider, a phone provider in Australia. And they are really bad. They call up threatening to disconnect your internet unless you pay them. So,
I might even pay that one.
Yeah, see that?
Don't mess with my internet.
I think that the thing that the thing that really got me, I think the reason why I wasn't scam baiting sooner was there was a day when my dad called me and said, Ray, I need you to come down. It was a 3-hour drive and spend the Saturday with your mom. We'll make dinner for you and everything. And I said, why? She goes, for the life of me, she keeps cursing out and hanging up on this gentleman who's trying to make an adjustment on my health benefit. And she thinks that he's trying to steal money from her. But my mom got so fed up with these people from other countries talking to her and trying to trick her that anybody from another country was like that. So she cursed at them and hang up. So I sat there all day drinking coffee and waiting for that call to come in. I took the call, and it was some guy working for an insurance company. He lived in Ohio, worked in Ohio, but he was Indian. And I had to tell my mom, this guy wants to help you. And years later, and then my mom worked with him. She felt so guilty. She goes, oh, no, I'm racist. I go, Mom, you're not. I go, you're a person who doesn't want to have a communication barrier with the other person. That's not racism. I go, you have a right to be able to understand what people are saying to you. But as time went by, I think it just dawned on me. I think I reached a point in my career where I was starting to look for alternative directions to go, and I think it just hit me at the wrong. I was trying to watch a movie, and I had a pop-up on my computer, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like mad because, I mean, I had invested an hour into this movie. I don't even remember what the movie was, but I knew I wasn't going to watch it, and so I called them, and I liked it. I thought, I'm going to do that again, but this time I'm going to make it harder on them. And when I first started, I had a personal desire to get them, to make them feel bad. But then I quickly realized through my roommate that if I put on an act and do something and turn the table in such a way, I can waste the maximum amount of time, and I can then also psychologically treat that scammer. Maybe they'll go home and remember me, that kind of thing. There's another component that I didn't mention that I do. While I'm talking to the scammers, I have as many as 1 to 20 virtual machines, each of them to make a single call to the scammer, the same one I'm talking to, and another one of their peers will pick up the phone, and my bot will play a random sound effect, like a donkey or somebody laughing at them, screaming at them, a movie quote. I can have 10 of them going all at once, 10 calls while I'm on the call. I try to keep the volumes low because it's a noisy endeavor. And quite often, after about 3 minutes, they get so frustrated of getting called by pesky robots that they decide to disconnect the phone number, and they either says go straight to voicemail. What that's doing is that's preventing any other person who gets that robocall. They'll hit 1 and they might get all sick because they're busy, or they'll hit 1 and it'll be busy. Or it'll hit 1 and it'll say the line has been disconnected. And that's because they're busy listening to my robots.
So what do we do? What do we do? Because you've got a lot invested in this, and I think you're doing a lot of really good stuff. First thing I want to say is, when next time one of these guys calls me and is trying to scam me, I'm actually pretty good at keeping people on the phone. So, if I'm not doing anything, I'll just I'll waste some of their time. But what do you think? What are some solutions that you think? Like, how do we chop the head off of this monster? How do we stop these scammers? Like, is it education, ultimately for people? What, in doing this all this time, if somebody, if the new head of the FCC or somebody came to you and said, "Hey, what do you think? What's a bigger solution for this? What do you think we could do?"
Our best weapon right now is education. I think I've heard a lot of good stories come out as a result of people watching scam baiting videos, not realizing that, oh, that's what those calls are about. The other one is remember that meal that I talked about? We have scam baiters right now illustrating the fact that scammers are able to convince a person to withdraw cash, mail money to a mule, and then trickle it into India without any scrutiny by our government. We're hoping that our legislators would see that loophole and introduce some kind of legislation that will let me as a scam baiter report a mule and get cops' eyes on them waiting for the delivery, and then at least try to get them there. That's one thing we're hoping.
That would be interesting.
By illustrating the scourge of scamming, we're also hoping to show our legislators that our country's not doing its part enacting any protections for consumers. Say, if a victim uses their bank account, which is rare for them to use their bank account to transfer money, but if they use a credit card or a bank card, there are laws that protect them, and they can get their money back quite easily under that method. If they go buy a gift card, like a Best Buy card, our hope right now is that Best Buy would start showing signs. If you're here to pay back Amazon, turn back around and go home, it's probably a scam. We're starting to see signage like that.
So wait, let me ask you this. If you're in India and you're getting all of these numbers for Best Buy, how are they then converting it to cash? Are they then?
Oh, it's pretty simple. They go. In some cases, they may even use. I haven't looked, but I wouldn't be surprised they sell them on eBay. But there are many markets where you can sell a $500 gift card for $400, and people will snatch them up.
Gotcha.
So that's what they do.
So yeah, so that that's interesting, because I know that this was years ago and things have changed, but just like it would not, everything's traceable, and it wouldn't be that difficult, I think, to if you're Best Buy or whatever, and there's cards are bought in the States, but they're well, I don't know, it would be hard. They could be tracked, but nobody's going to want to spend the money, I guess.
Well, the other problem is like the mule, for example. I mean, literally, and there's videos of scam baiters meeting the mule in person, and UPS delivering another package from some unknown victim that's delivering cash. And you can't call the police. The police simply tell you, we will only investigate where a crime has been committed. And I've had discussions with the police. I said, so if I know that there's somebody expecting money, what would happen if I actually sent $2,000 to that mule? Will you then go get them? And he said, you don't understand how policing works. You tell us about that crime, we're going to want to know where the mule is located. Oh, it's a bed and breakfast. Okay. When did the crime occur? Well, you would tell us after the crime, so that day. Okay, so by the time we start to research it, which could take a week, that mule will be nowhere to be found. He said, that's your answer. I go, you cannot expect an ordinary citizen to get cops to go arrest somebody. He goes, right. It just doesn't work. However, legislators might see enough of it and create some kind of provision for police departments to know that this is a known scam. It's pervasive. You can go onto Facebook and literally look at the ads looking for mules.
Oh yeah, no, there's a guy. on YouTube that broke that down. I can't remember how I ran across that, about how that works. And hold on a second. I want to scroll back into the comments here. If Big Corps cared, it would be more difficult to get and redeem a card. Yeah, and what I meant, Cat Mommy, by tracking the card was, I meant more something like, you can't process a gift card overseas, but actually then they're actually selling the gift card on a site, because I've done that with gift cards that I don't want to use. But I mean, there's ways to track IP addresses, and if bulk things are being done, they could find ways to stop it or slow it down, but there's no benefit to them to do it.
Well, one of the big ones for me is there were remote control programs like TeamViewer and GoToAssist.
Right.
If they would simply take screenshots of fake tech support scams and put them on the screen where you click download, and just put a little thing. Are you coming here because of something like this? Think again.
Yeah.
That would do a ton. But the problem is TeamViewer makes a lot of money on scammers.
Sure.
It cuts into their bottom. They won't benefit them to do it.
So wait a minute. Are you telling me the scammers are buying legit versions of the TeamViewer software because they have to?
Yeah.
And
and in order to block your screen, they have to subscribe to TeamViewer.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
So TeamViewer is out there. There you go.
Well, just education mostly, but with enough pressure. There's always the other one is, why can't the United States and India work together to do it? And that's because of that inability. India, I watched a really good video from the Prime Minister of India. He said, we're very well aware of cybercrime. They are the number 5 on our top list of capital crimes. He says the problem is it takes 2 years before we can formally launch an investigation. And I looked into it and found out why. Once the investigation starts, it can take another 3 years to get an indictment and then get a thing to call and raid the call center. There's some exceptions, and you can tell when you watch the videos. If they find a call center that's totally isolated in its own building structure, those are easy to raid, because right now we're starting, I don't know if you've heard of virtual workspaces before.
Sure.
But yeah, right now, if you wanted to start a business in New York City, you can literally lease a chunk of floor on a floor and share the call center backbone, but have your own virtual connection and make it look like you're bigger than you really are. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why scammers aren't embedding themselves into building for rent places. And the reason why it takes 2 years for them to do an investigation is when they shut down a scammer, they might be shutting down a legitimate business along with them. And that is disastrous. India is the call center capital of the world. So, and there are some times, I swear, I can hear other agents answering as some insurance company. So,
wow.
And it wouldn't surprise me if there are some legit businesses that have turned to scamming.
They do both.
Drop a couple of rogue agents in your MetLife call center to really rake in the dough. No one will know, and the cops will avoid it.
Certified ScamBait says the call centers have to get permits to operate, so they register as a legit business. Use Airbnb, then gone a day or two. Great call, Ray, says Vix Ano. The gift card numbers are given to a blocker who will purchase the cards from the call center, then launder the gift card money. Yeah. Well, I mean,
I'm not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean, it becomes a whole industry in and of itself. There needs to be better awareness. Governments need to put serious sanctions on the Indian government and other countries where there are scammers. That was from Ann again. And I think we scrolled through those. Oh, Indian police say they don't get reports from foreign countries about scammers. Truth is, The scammers pay the cops a percent of the money and steal so they can keep scamming. Yeah, that happens all over the place with cops all over the world.
That's what my Indian roommate Ramesh told me. He said, "I don't think you understand India, Ray." He goes, "If I'm in India and I get a speeding ticket, it's customary and expected for me to bribe the officer.
It's like
illegal.
A tip.
Wow.
It's illegal, but so it's not a surprise to me." And then there's, like I said, in today's technical world, if they were smart, a scammer would take advantage of those places that rent virtual workspaces. They get the permit to operate a call center for you. You just have to pay a lease to drop people in. And creating fake tech pop-ups, that's not hard. Running the elaborate SSA scams with, right now we're seeing a huge, like, here's an example. Before the pandemic, I could literally get off of work at 5 o'clock and run a live stream for 2 hours calling scammers. Today, I literally go to work extra early, and I work from home because of the pandemic. At 3 o'clock my time, I log off of work and immediately start my broadcast. And I'm lucky if I can get 2 hours of scam calls, because they are so understaffed. They literally start closing their call centers around 5 p.m. Eastern, which is 3 p.m. my time. My prediction is once the pandemic eventually starts to fade away, we're going to start resuming those massive scams taking place everywhere between as early as 10 a.m. Eastern all the way up to as late as 7 p.m. Eastern. That's how it used to be. But right now, it's like we see two trends. They're closing sooner, and every scammer that I come across is a newbie. They haven't been on this. They're so new to the scam. I have Mary read all the words of a prompt, and they're telling her to click on. They tell her to click on authorize, but the buttons are yes or no. That's how
crazy.
That's how. Yeah, it does drive me crazy.
Mary's the master. Mary's the master.
Check.
My relative was the girl that befriended her was going to the Apple store and sending Apple phones everywhere for this lady. That's how it ate up her money so quickly. But this was like 8 years ago, and it was when Apple was booming, and she was sending anything from computers to telephones everywhere, and that's what ate up into her life savings so quickly. Sad.
So if somebody that is watching this on the replay, well, first of all, if you're watching on the replay, check out Haps TV, HAPPS.tv, and you can multicast. You can do all this for free, and you can even earn a little money yourself. Also, if Ray, is there a what is the there's a community of scam baiters, right? It's kind of out there. Is there like a you help people getting into scam baiting? Is there like a scam baiting series of videos on YouTube or something you can watch to get in, to start doing it? How do people kind of become a scam? If they want to become a scam baiter, what do they do?
Well, I think the direct way is they start watching ScamBait videos. They settle on a few scam baiters that they consider their favorite, and then certain ones will take the steps to start offering resources for them. But there are universal resources like scammer.info, which has a tutorial section. We have just in general, I don't know. You'll see that in almost in a lot of the scam baiting streams. How could I get started? Things like that. I myself, I have a a video player list called ScamBait 101.
Oh, cool.
Which is where I'll be dropping, where I've dropped in how to install and run my ScamBait VM, or how to download and run my ScamBait Tools. Coming soon, how to download and use my AutoBot Call Flooder. That one's an extended type of live stream I'll be doing, because I require a membership to my channel, and they have to read, and it's not a legal document that they're reading. It's a heart-to-heart with them on what you can and should do with a call flooder. That's where you have the multiple robots that call a scammer.
Uh-huh.
And what you should avoid, because if you use that tool wrong, you can find yourself in trouble with the FCC. So there's a lot of training that I'll be offering on my channel.
So wait a minute. Let me ask you this real quick. So, because I want you to explain that tool to me. But
okay,
I did notice on your videos. That you actually had a couple of them where you were able to connect with the person being scammed. How do you do that?
Yeah, that's tricky, and eventually I plan to help people understand how that works. That's called setting up a back door. On my ScamBait VM, I have what are called honeypots. These are pictures of a pretty woman that if they transfer those files to their computer and run them, their machine will pop up into a console and I can spy on them. Okay. You have to be very careful when you use something like that, because let's say the scammer gets the pictures and then connects to a victim and then drops my honeypot onto the victim, and I see the victim show up. I can tell with a little bit of research. I researched them first. If they're not in India, I disconnect them. I don't even spy on them. They have to be in India or Pakistan. The other rule I have, you will never see me scam bait an American scammer. I will never call a car warranty scam. And there's reasons for that. Calling up and harassing a business, even if they're running a scam in America, can still get you into hot water.
Yeah, I would say that might be problematic. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just have a direct rule. Make sure the place you're calling is they're in India or Pakistan, and in Romania. I mean, there's other places too. Russia. I don't mind scamming Russians and stuff, but it's just stay away from America. The other thing about like the call flooder is already I've caught. I call flooded an SSA scammer that after about 3 hours, the phone started answering. Thank you for calling something Life Dental. I had to stop the scam bait and then call them and apologize, because what the scammer did is they redirected their number to a legitimate business, thinking I was going to flood that business. So there's a lot of responsibility, and even in my regular scam bait live stream tutorials, there is a lot of responsibility you bear when you do scam baiting. Your biggest responsibility is to keep your personal info private. To take measures to not reveal where you are. There's other things. People who like to bait the Social Security scammers. You can't just use any Social Security number. You need to get one that's unused, and there's sites that I will show people that they can go to get genuine Social Security numbers that are not used. They're not Social Security of dead people. These are just numbers that have never been claimed. But there's a responsibility there. You can't get those numbers and use them forever. You have to do it maybe once a week, because what if those numbers were to get claimed? That doesn't really happen as often as one might think, because usually I'm claiming Social Security numbers that came out in like 1968 or 75. They're never going to be claimed. because that's how the U.S. creates Social Security numbers. They're done. Certain numbers come out for a certain given year. So if there are certain numbers that weren't used in 75, they'll never be used.
Gotcha. Well, so how often?
But you should be careful and refresh.
So you set up a little honeypot for these guys. The person, they happen to click on the picture, then you're looking at their computer, and then you're able to see what they're looking at in terms of the victim. And then you're talking to the. How do you talk to the victim then?
Well, it's pretty straightforward. The first thing I do when I get the back door is I look at their data, and I run a couple of diagnostics to locate them using IP locator. I look at their documents, and if I find documents with customer information in it, I will download it into an archive that I keep, and then I'll replace the file with an empty file, effectively removing that customer information. After I've done that, I then start to just watch their desktop. And you'd be surprised. Like, I watched one scammer so long, I finally just got tired of it. He was taking in calls for a refund scam, and I watched him take as close to 70 calls, and he maybe got one person on for 5 minutes at the most. They get hung up on a lot. So I have a big monitor. I have their desktops visible to me at all times. If I see a screen open, I look at the screen. If I see someone's bank account, I immediately open up I can spy on the scammer's microphone. Okay. And I can listen to the scammer talking to the victim. If I'm hearing them, getting them ready to do that trip to the store, what I'll do is I'll try to figure out what number they're talking to.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't, I'll remotely close their Skype or their iBeam. This is another name of
right. I noticed you did that in one of them, right?
Right. And then I watch them go to dial the victim. I then reboot the scammer's machine after I write down the victim's phone number. I call the victim and tell them that they're in the middle of being scammed by a scammer, and they need to reboot their machine right now. And if they would like, I can help them uninstall the remote software that the scammer installed. That sounds a lot simpler than it really is. Usually
no, I think it's probably pretty difficult to pull off.
Oh man, I'm usually kind of red in the face when I'm talking to them because they often think that I'm a scammer.
Yeah, now you're
how did you get my phone number, and how did you know what was on my screen? And I'm like, no, ma'am, you don't understand. I was spying on the scammer, which was remoted into you. I'm doing this just to keep you from. And I've got some videos up right now of me helping them out after that initial talk.
Yeah.
But I had one lady. It took one lady. It took me almost 20 minutes to convince her that I was actually trying to help her. But by the time I was done, she was asking me where she can send a pecan pie to. So it was.
Oh,
that is nice.
It was,
if they ever get on Ray's and Mary's on, Ray's got a good look at. I'm sorry, Ray's got a looking blonde that's Mary, and she is one fit chick. She's got long blonde hair and other accoutrements they love to see. They get it on Ray's computer. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a challenge getting, like, with this new wave. The new wave of scammers is basically the scamming industry in India dealing with the pandemic. So we have scammers now that connect to our machines that don't even realize they can download those nice pictures. Some of them have been prohibited from doing it. Their bosses tell them, under no circumstances will you take files from the victim. And it's because they know they've had people like me backdoor them.
Right.
So I have my tried and true method that I can't say it's tried and true, but a method that I think will be the most effective. I've created a fake bank, and I put my banking username and password on a text file on my desktop. They do download that file, if they run that file on their desktop, I have a backdoor. Many times they won't. They'll just blacken my screen and open the file, and then through the remote connection, write down the username and password, and then go to my bank, my fake bank. When they log in, it goes to a thing that's called two-factor authentication.
Right.
And it downloads a file called token.exe. And it says you must run token.exe and type in the code that it displays. If they do that, they're going to get a backdoor.
So like
sometimes Ray uses Bernie Madoff savings and I think that is hilarious because they don't get that joke, you know. But the
other thing that we've done, but we ran into a technical problem. I've created fake. You can download fake customer data for North America in an Excel spreadsheet. So I created a honeypot Excel spreadsheet that if they opened it on PC, they would get the backdoor. But these scammers, they're in a level that's different than your ordinary scammers. They were downloading the spreadsheet on their phone, and I can't backdoor a phone using the same method.
Gotcha.
So I have a team on Discord. We're in the process of creating software that we might get. It's kind of ironic, but we might get it approved by the Google Play Store. I don't know for how long,
right.
but long enough to backdoor some phones. Right now, if I could backdoor a phone, that will have more data than a scammer's PC.
Sure,
that would be very invaluable. So,
wow.
Yeah, that is really, really wild. So what? How often do you broadcast?
Every day until while I'm working from home, every Monday through Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I'm on YouTube, Periscope until it moves over back to Twitter, and also Twitch. So it's a simultaneous stream,
sure.
As well as Facebook. The session lasts anywhere from 1 hour to as long as 2 to 3 hours. If I get a run to the store, that's easily a 1.5 hour ScamBait call. Usually it'll be the highlight of the show. And I've been getting a lot of those recently. I had an SSA scammer that went to that had me go to Target, and then I had a refund scammer that had me go to Best Buy. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I stream from 2 p.m. generally from 2 p.m. Eastern to about 4 p.m. Eastern.
So why, as we wrap this up, but why don't it's just because I'm saying this before I'm thinking it through, but why don't they just have them buy gift cards online?
I've wondered that myself. I don't, and they do this. There's a class of Amazon scammer that will give you the same spiel as the refund Amazon.
Uh-huh.
What they do instead, they log into your machine. They have you log into your Amazon account, and then they either blacken your screen or just right in front of you, order themselves a gift card using your Amazon account.
Gotcha. Well, maybe there's something about the laundering of the money. Maybe it's easier to use physical cards. I don't know, but I mean, if I were scamming, I'd just be yeah.
Well, there's a way to. I mean, there's Venmo. I mean, but see, the problem is right now they can't use PayPal in huge swaths of India.
That stuff doesn't work in India.
Right.
There's no Venmo outside of the United States right now, but just like just go on to Best Buy, buy a gift card, and then you've got the number right there. I know people that scammers too will do Apple cards too. But
well, yeah, they could if they really were crafty. I mean, like I said, they're plain obvious enough to go into my machine. I got a Kroger cash card that has like 37 cents on it. I put it on cousin Ray's Amazon account, and I have had over 30 gift cards ordered because Amazon will process the order and then decline it, so the scammer thinks they're going to get a gift card. So I've had that happen numerous times.
Oh, that's
Thing is,
awesome.
I have to get it removed. I have to get on with Amazon support and this last time they said, "Why do you keep ordering gift cards and then even though you can't buy them?" I said, "Because I'm a scam baiter. These are scammers that are ordering them." And they said, "Oh, haha, okay, I'll delete it for you."
Nice,
But,
nice.
I honestly don't know why they don't have they go through the trouble of the trip to Best Buy. What's keeping them from just going to Google Play and having the customer buy a Google Play card right at the website and getting that number? I do know that if they go that route with me, I haven't used it yet, but I have a fake Google Play plugin that will make it look like I'm buying the card, cashing in a card. But remember how I said it's like spy versus spy? Things keep changing.
Right.
I think the day's going to come when they might do something like that. I won't be very prepared for it, but I've done this long enough. I know how to style my way through it. The other thing they're going to be doing, and they've already started, there are some scammers that would rather remote into your phone than your computer.
Oh, geez.
If they remote into your phone, it's much easier for them to order gift cards because when someone remotes into your phone, you don't see the cursor moving, but they can do a lot in the background, like look at bank balances and stuff. So we're going to see a lot of that. I always tell them I have one of those pay-as-you-go phones that aren't smartphones, and then they log into my computer. I don't know.
Ray educates every single day on this application because he's educated me. Even though I knew they were out there, I've learned more about them than I ever thought I wanted to know. So I think a lot of people listen to learn Ray, and thank you for doing that kind of thing. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really, I think it's great. And like I said, I really am. I'm impressed with the fact that you've gotten some of these scammers out of the scam life, gotten them jobs. I'm literally listening and watching you helping a little old lady that's practically in tears and ready to bake you a pie because you've helped them not get scammed. So I think you've taken it to a really really cool level, and that's I knew a little bit about like the people that were to try to get the Nigerians and catch them, and they do investigations on their money drops and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of scamming out there, and whenever I run across a scam on the internet, I always try, at least at a minimum, or if it's on the phone, to try and get them to give me some money, and then I can give them more money back. But they never fall for it,
Yeah, I was. When I first moved to Utah, I was helping a girlfriend of mine try to sell. She had a wheelchair scooter that she needed to sell, and she tried to do it on Craigslist, and we gave up on it because she got over 7 certified checks worth 4 times the amount, and they were fake.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know, every day I wake up, I one of the first thoughts I have is, what am I going to try to do on my channel stream today that might be a little different if I can. But if there's another thought, like if I'm driving, what is the next thing scammers are going to try to capitalize on? And that's where I realized phones are going to be a big deal. I've often wondered what you brought up. Why aren't they just saving that trip and just buying it through the website? I don't know you know what it is? These scammers, especially the Social Security scammers, they tell you the tale of a car that's abandoned in Texas. Its title has TX147. They don't realize that they're talking about a license plate. That's how uninformed they are. They talk about being in a building. They transfer you to other agents, the SSA, the DEA, the Trade Commission. All these agents work in the same building.
Right. It's remarkable that they do. Certified ScamBaits, thanks for the high award. I appreciate that.
Oh, cool. So my line of thinking on what you brought up on buying them from the website, they are held to such a rigid line with their script.
Right.
They probably don't realize it because they don't have that creativity to do what they want. Their flexibility is very little. In fact, one of my trademark techniques is getting the scammer off of their script. You'll hear that a lot with other scam baiters, or I'll comment in another video. Great job getting them off their script. They don't know where they are, and sometimes they'll ask things out of order. It's just always a laughing joke on our side. But that's made me realize is they might think the only way that you can get a gift card, the way that they have to do it, is to drive with you to Best Buy. It's a retarded process that they put you through. It's the only time when I get to yell at them and tell them to shut up because they're on the cell phone with me while I'm driving, and I try to get them talking. Like, oh, I'm at a stoplight. I have a question. So they start talking, and then the car starts rolling again, and they're talking, and I say, shut your face, I'm driving. Shut up. I'm going to get a ticket. And I really batter them down. You can tell that they don't like.
You should do some. You should do something like, when you're driving with them, tell them that, oh my God, I just ran over this lady. You know what I mean? And just start panicking or get into a gunfight or something. Just freak them out. Just for fun.
So yeah, we covered a lot in this. There's so much to the scam baiter's role that I'm getting my daughter. My daughter's going to be involved. I'm going to build her a streaming PC. She's going to try to stream every Thursday.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm not sure what she's going to call her channel, but I'm going to be offering my members how to or help in building a PC if they want me to help them spec out a streaming PC. If they want to start scam baiting, I'll be there to help them do that. I'm going to give them all the mistakes. I've been very fortunate. I really haven't made any technical mistakes. I created my ScamBait VM so that it resides on a different subnetwork. And there are things you can do to, watch out for the security on your system that I would be telling people. But I think what happens with people is once they do a ScamBait, there's just a little bit of inner peace hits them. They feel like they're making a difference both for the victims that have been victimized, and they may have changed the scammer in some small way, just rubbing them a little bit, reminding them that what they're doing is wrong. That's one of the greatest feelings in the world. It really is. And I'm glad to have helped a number of folks who are now running their own channel. I think it's really cool.
That is awesome. Anne says, it doesn't work. One scam baiter pretended to get into a crash and was badly injured lying on the road. Scammer just told them to walk to the store. You just go. Well, no, I just meant to do it for fun, to F with them. You know what I mean? Not to be, but yeah, I think what would be fun for me would be to try to get them off script, because I've done, I've managed car dealerships. I've managed, phone banks. I did all, I'm 54 years old. We didn't have sophisticated tools 30 years ago. You just picked up the phone and called people. But yeah, so that getting people off script would be a lot of fun. I have to say that anytime life has been tough, times have been tough in my life, I am really good at getting people on the other end of the customer service line to do everything that they're within their limitations to be able to do for you. So, I know how to talk to people on the phone. So the next time one of these guys, like I said, is trying to scam me, I'm going to keep them on there as long as I can, because now I know I'm doing some good by tying up that guy's time instead of scamming somebody else. So you're doing great work, my friend. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I look forward to it every day, and I just hope I can just keep doing it, because like I said, it's made me like 4 years ago. If I were to go back in time and say, dude, in 4 years, your channel will have almost 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and every day you call these numbskulls up just to waste their time, I would have said, why? Why would I do that?
It's fun.
I said, well, okay, younger Ray, think about it. If you don't by doing that, you're keeping those numbskulls from stealing money from old ladies. And my younger Ray would say, well, that's kind of cool. Plus, you get to entertain people and make them laugh. And I go, well, I like to do that. Plus, you're going to exercise your creativity and start doing things that you've always wanted to do. And so running my YouTube channel has opened up a lot of things for me. I think it's just, if anything, it's something I can proudly put on my resume. I mean,
and now you have a cartoon.
It's awesome. It's awesome. What is the scammer when I ran her video? What is her name?
Did she send it?
Do you know what her name was? She never let you know.
I never really got to know their name. Even the scammers we talk to, they don't ever really.
They don't.
Rarely do they give you their name.
They don't say hi. This is somebody or whatever.
Oh,
but anyway,
give you a fake name. They give you an American name and say they're from California.
Right. I love that. Smith. I love that. Yeah. When the Social Security people call me and I'm like, that is wild. When did they open a when did the Social Security, when did they start doing stuff in India? Like, did we have an office there? And they're like, oh yes. We have yes. So the administration has lots of offices, in India. I'm like, okay, yeah. So okay, bye. Thank you.
They're just all kind. They like to use Rowlett, Texas, as one of their talking points for the SSA scam. If they tell you they found the car on the border, so what you need to do is ask them which town was this car found in. They're going to slip and tell you Rowlett. They'll tell you Rowlett, Texas, which is like 300 miles from the border. And you just tell them, I don't know what you mean by on the border. Rowlett's a suburb of Dallas. It's like 250 miles. And they're like, and like, are you really with the Social Security Administration? Even, or, okay, you told me that there was you told me that the title or the VIN number, in the numbers you read, there were only 6, but VIN numbers have 17 numbers. Are you sure that's the VIN number? When you do stuff like that, they will hang up on you, though. So you have to play along with them. That's a Texas VIN number. Okay, I understand.
Well, yeah, it is Texas. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, listen, if you're watching this on replay, or if you're still with us, I appreciate that you watched, and follow Ray on YouTube. Tell me how do they find you on YouTube?
Okay, the easiest way to find me is just search for Funny Scammer Pranks Live. You'll see a channel called Modern Paul Huckers. That's probably the easiest way. I have a channel that's really started to grow. A year ago, I had 1,000 subscribers, and now I have 4,500. I think I'm up to
that's awesome.
4,600.
Thank you, Kim
channel memberships. I have channel memberships that start at a really low price that get you in the door. You can download my AutoBot Flooder, provided you listen in and watch my training for it. I have a ScamBait VM you can use with all kinds of fake utilities. I'm going to have training on how I do my programming as well as my video editing. So there's a lot to get out of my channel that I'm going to start.
That is fantastic. That is really, really cool. Ray,
those of you that follow Ray, follow Ray. Every Wednesday night, he has these human interest stories. Very cool. Next week, we're going to have somebody from NetMec, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. That'll be good next Wednesday night around 10 o'clock Central.
10 Eastern. 10 Eastern.
And 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central. Yes.
Yep.
And I do appreciate you coming, Ray.
You.
You're just precious. You're just so sweet, and I enjoy every time I get me a cup of coffee, and I just lay back and put on my headphones and listen to Ray and cackle and laugh. My husband will come in. What are you laughing at? I'm with Ray.
That's cool.
No, I mean, you got people that are, wanting to become scam baiters, wanting just to enjoy it for the humor. You got people that, are watching it because they're like, I hate scammers. You got a lot of different audiences you can have in there. Certified Scumbait says Ray is also the master at getting them to the point of smashing the phone and hanging up.
Saying hallelujah.
I really like the. I've got these trademark things that I do to them to hammer them down. My busted and wasted is one of them. I know by talking to some scammers after the fact, they've told me they secretly love my channel even though they're a scammer. It's kind of cool. I had one 19-year-old.
No, just consider it to be like. Sorry,
an SSA scammer. I hit them for 6 hours of screaming and yelling at them with my robot, and I did my test call in, and I got this 19-year-old, and he goes, "Don't hang up the phone, don't. I want to talk to you." And I go, "What do you mean? I'm not going to fall for your scam." And he goes, No. Can I call you when I get home? I said, "Sure." So I gave him one of my Google Voice numbers, and an hour after my stream, after my day ended, I waited for his call. He brought his friend from the scammer center, and I counseled with them for 30 minutes. And he said, "I loved it when your robot hit our call center." He says, "Everybody, they took their headsets off, and they were required by their metric to answer every call. The phone would ring, they would push the button, and then hold the headset out so it would scream out, and then they would release the call and wait for the next call. And they were doing that for 6 hours straight." He goes, "How did you do that?" And so he now and I exchange emails every now and then. He doesn't work for that SSA scammer anymore, but I told him, if you're going to work for a scammer, work for what I call a gray scam, which is a company that does produce software but uses not so proper means to scare you into buying it. I go, at least do that while you learn how to set up a lamp stack and get a real job. So I might have a fourth and fifth save coming up soon. Somebody's gotten a regular job.
Oh, that is awesome. That is awesome. Well, that when you that's really cool, and I hope you get a lot more opportunities to kind of spread the message of what you're doing, because I would really think it would be awesome to even see the folks in the scam baiter movement do a little bit of what you're doing, which is helping these folks out over there. I mean, it's everybody it's just a really cool thing. It's a really cool thing. And somebody said Cat Mama, this is a fabulous and interesting stream. Well, there are so many different streams you could be on right now. We'll give them all credit. We'll take some of that credit. We're running between you and I. We're running in like 6 or 7 different places. Hopefully when this system gets a little more stable, I'm assuming, do you use something like OBS or something like that for your broadcasts?
I use XSplit. What I was using the camera that we're trying to use right now. It's a Creative Labs high definition camera, but it doesn't have near the quality of about a Sony a6000 DSLR camera. It's a mirrorless camera. It's not meant it wasn't designed for streaming, but YouTubers have realized if you take a camera usually normal for photography and use it to stream HDMI, you get picture perfect quality. It's so bad you can see my freckles. I mean, that's how much detail is in it.
Right.
The problem is it runs through an HDMI converter off of a USB 3 converter, and for some reason, the Chrome, which is basically what I'm using, can't attach to that device. I did get it to work once, but I had to install other cameras, and I was able to make the camera work. But I can't get it to work through another component that I actually rely on for YouTube, and that's Nvidia Broadcast.
Oh, okay.
It's a piece of software that filters your video and will remove the background without a green screen. It's really powerful stuff. It also has an audio filter that I haven't used yet, but if you go on YouTube and look at Nvidia Broadcast, you'll see people talking into a microphone while they take a sledgehammer and hammer their desk, and you can't hear the hammer.
Oh wow!
Because
Oh
Nvidia-
yeah, I've heard of that. The online digital background. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Wild
so that's the
technology.
only thing that's hanging it up. What I'm thinking, I looked at Haps, I looked at the content on Haps, I looked at the way its studio allows you to do what looks like a real TV type broadcast. You can share documents and screens. Just based on what I'm seeing, if they can gain in popularity, I wouldn't doubt one day we might see a Windows-based Haps broadcast studio. If they go that route, I know I would be using it. But even with what we have, Periscope is stopping in March, and so
Right.
there are a lot of Periscope streamers that are either going to go to Haps, which I think many are, or they're going to start streaming directly to Twitter. It's a big audience for me because when I look at my numbers after every daily live stream, I'm at the end of the day, I get almost as many people that view me on Twitter through Periscope as I do on YouTube. And my Twitch, it's kind of bulging. I'm starting to get more Twitch activity. Pretty soon, I'm not going to be doing the multicasting streaming anymore. I'm going to be doing YouTube every other day, and then Twitch and Twitter, which would be Periscope or Haps TV exclusively. Because I'm at a point now where I need to be able to engage directly with the only audiences that I have. I might still do a one day a week multi-stream to all. I don't really know yet. I'm having to learn, in addition to just the tech that I already know, I'm also having to learn how to be a content provider. And that's a whole ball of wax that I had to learn over the course of a year.
Yeah. Hey, Bernadette, thanks for the Stay Safe Award. And it is possible to scam me, says Bernadette. My youngest son was scammed out of $1,000. Chase closed his account after he deposited his school money. We've gotten scammed in relationships. Fool me once, that's all you get. Then send me out. Oh, then send them out to kick rocks. Take care, all. You too, Bernadette. You take care. And yeah, well, listen, it was really nice having you come and join us. And I think that lady, you said something at some point, and you've been doing it for 4 years. I'm telling you, man, if the only thing you got out of it over 4 years was that freaking video, that's pretty well worth it, because that thing is hilarious. That thing is hilarious. It's crazy. And
that's what's so cool about watching his stream, is because you never know when something like that's going to happen. I happen to be a part of the one that, well, not a part, I was watching, but like I was a part of the one that lasted an hour and a half and did a trip to Target. And it was just amazing to watch it fold out. So watch him. You'll enjoy it. You'll get hooked. I'm telling you, Ray's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it so much. I
really dare myself on these because all that I do is pure impromptu. I decided I'm going to go to a restaurant. While I was driving, I was saying, I'm going to go to a restaurant, and talking to the scammer, getting him to understand I had to eat. I go, I'm going to choke on my steak. And I thought, that'll really get him. I thought, you know, and then
He
I thought,
did
okay,
it.
so I got to figure out how am I going to simulate a Heimlich maneuver when I'm all alone. So
He's got a one of a kind imagination, that's for sure.
and then I had to say, okay, I got to make it so quick that my viewers won't think I'm literally choking. Because,
Right.
so I had to aim, I had to lift my face and look at the camera with a half grin on my face, you know.
That well,
but-
that
Yeah, it's that kind of stream. When I get done with them, I literally have to cool down from them because I just used a part of my brain I don't use all the time.
oh yeah, I know what that's like. You got to be able to you got to be able to cool down, but you know you could cool down and maybe get lucky and get a scammer call, and just for fun you can just you know you can try and get them. But here's that, just tell me once that you could get them to send you money, and then you will be my hero forever. And that's really great. And yeah, I hope if you make it, if HAPS becomes a path that you happen to use, you know, drop in here anytime you want and say hi.
Yeah, sure will. No, I'm so glad to be a part of this. I appreciate the invitation, and this is nice. I'm glad people are receptive to what I stand for, and it really does. It does give my. I mean, I'm in the IT field, and when you do what I do on a day-to-day basis, I get a lot of praise from my users. But the kind of praise I feel, the community I feel with my viewers, and just even when I do help scammers out, there's just no feeling. There's no way to. It's almost like being a superhero in a small way, a small superhero. You know.
Yeah, I'm going to give you that. I'm going to give you that.
It really does give me that feeling.
That's awesome. That's really great, and you're doing great work. And I appreciate everybody that hung out with us. And it is time for me to go to bed.
I'll see you tomorrow, Ray. Thanks.
It's just a fact. So
You bet.
I
Thanks, Ken.
appreciate meeting you, and
Yeah.
keep doing it. Keep kicking ass. It's pretty awesome. Thanks, Kim, for
Thanks.
putting this together like you always do. I really appreciate it.
Namaste, my friend. Namaste.
Namaste. And all of you that are watching this on replay or still with us here, check out haps.tv. Check out Ray's stuff, and peace be with you, and namaste.